Are joining us now, CNN military analyst, retired Army Major General James Spider Marks, and Ivo Daalder, former U.S. ambassador to NATO. Welcome to you both. Mr. Ambassador, let me start with you. This buildup of forces by some has been characterized as a test of this new president, President Biden, happening in his first year. However, Chancellor Scholz has been on the job for 2 months. Just set for us the significance of shaping his time in leadership by what he says today and his reaction to what we're seeing on the Russia-Ukraine border.
Well, it's really a critical visit for Chancellor Scholz, who, as you said, has just been in power for a couple of months. He spent a good 8 or so months negotiating with his coalition partners to try to figure out how they can actually form a government. And all of that negotiation was focused on the domestic economic and political scene in Germany and to some extent within the European Union. It really wasn't about foreign policy. And yet here he is, the Chancellor of Germany, the most important European power, the most important European friend of the United States, confronting this really massive foreign policy crisis, a crisis that, frankly, even Angela Merkel in her 16 years never saw, of 130,000 Russian troops at the borders of Ukraine, ready to intervene and invade even more than it has done in the past. So he's got a very tough task ahead of himself. Luckily, he's now, I think, in the Oval Office discussing with President Biden what to do. So far, he has tried to get his sea legs. I hope he walks out of the Oval Office fully confident and aligned in lockstep, as the president said, with all NATO allies to see this moment through.
It's hard to see how that's going to happen, Spider, because thus far, Germany has sent helmets to Ukraine, not weapons. And so does that give us a clue for what's going to happen today and in the couple of weeks ahead?
Well, I don't know, Allison, if that by itself is as significant a clue as some other activities that are ongoing. Clearly, as Chairman Scholz has indicated, the Ukrainians asked for helmets, and so he's simply responding to their request. He's also hampered, if you will, by some legislation that exists. He's not allowed to issue lethal arms, and he would have to work his way through that. And clearly, the German military does not match its martial past. Some would say that's an okay thing right now. But the challenge that we see clearly is NATO, I think, is in disarray, and Putin's clearly in a position to win, almost irrespective of his decision to invade or not to invade. There are multiple scenarios in terms of how he could invade. One thing in particular that we have to keep in mind, and there's been precious little talk about this, is the forces in Belarus, the Russian forces that are in Belarus. If they were on their way to Kiev, they'd have to pass through the Chernobyl exclusion zone. I mean, if I was a young soldier on the ground and my boss said, hey, man, we're going to have to go through this nuke zone. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine. We'll get you through this thing. That would cause some great hesitation on my part. So I think what you see in Belarus, I've described it before, is kind of a head fake. And I do think if an invasion is going to occur, it'll occur into the existing presence where Russian forces already are in the Donbass. Look, Putin's not going to leave this thing without a win. He's invested far too much without walking away with something in his pocket. That is territory or some negotiated settlement where he has a win. He's also sat down with Xi, and he's got a 30-year gas deal, oil deal. That's pretty good, going to be paid in euros. So Putin is in a position to almost walk away with a ledger in his favor.
Mr. Ambassador, let's stay on energy because that is pretty high up on the list of what Germany and all of Western Europe is considering and negotiating if there are some sanctions and what the ramifications could be. We heard from President Biden when he was in the Oval Office with the Qatari Emir about securing energy sources for Western Europe. How important is navigating that source of energy, Russia being the second largest source of energy to Western Europe, into how important is that to what we hear from and what we don't hear from the Chancellor today?
Well, it's critical for two reasons. One, of course, because of Nord Stream 2, which has been completed, a pipeline that can move gas from Russia directly to Germany, and the question of whether that pipeline will actually be open and gas will start to flow if there is a major military movement by the Russians into Ukraine. It is inconceivable that that at the same time the Germans would start and move forward with the pipeline. But that also therefore means that alternative sources of energy are necessary, and it's not just Nord Stream 2. It is gas supplies through a whole variety of pipelines into Europe. Europe consumes about 40% of its gas from Russian imports, so those would have to be replaced. Qatar, of course, is a major exporter of natural gas. So is Australia, and so, by the way, is the United States. And so there is an opportunity here to find alternative sources of gas, and the administration has been working very hard over the last few weeks to provide some sense of how the United States and the European Union can provide gas at affordable prices to the citizens of Europe if and when sanctions need to be imposed, and Russia perhaps retaliates by closing off those gas pipelines itself. So this is a major way in which you solidify the NATO alliance by looking at all of the options, all of the consequences of taking action in response to Russian actions in order to keep NATO together. And I think contrary to what some are thinking, I think over the last 2-3 months, we have seen an alliance of 30 countries that indeed is walking alongside each other, standing shoulder to shoulder. The Germans may be sending helmets to Ukraine. They're sending military forces to reinforce our allies in the East. And that ultimately is what you want. You want a strong, united NATO capable of making clear to Mr. Putin that whatever he does in Ukraine, it cannot and must not pass to any NATO territory itself.
Spider, another military question. We've heard that Russia now has 70% of the weaponry and manpower that it would need for a full-scale invasion. How do we interpret that number? Does that mean they're 1 day away from having 100%, weeks away? What would that ramp up look like?
Well, from a military guy's perspective, if they have that type of manpower and kit, the enablers, the military enablers that are available to them, they could fight tonight. So if you're looking for a timeline, it literally, sets your clock. It could be tonight at dinner time. The key thing is you have to look at what those capabilities are. They've got the artillery and rocket forces that are already pre-positioned. They have the logistics that have been pre-positioned forward. And during the period of this deployment, all those forces obviously have been training. You just don't go there, sit, and wait. You maintain your battle readiness in advance of launching across or launching an operation. So, Allison, clearly it's speculation, but based on capability. Now, look, the threat is both capabilities and intentions. We talk a lot about the intentions. Those belong to Putin. We can't get inside his head, but his capabilities are very clear. He could attack tonight.